So, Donald Trump is planning on sending federal troops into three more cities, Chicago, Illinois being one of them. There is so much violence going on in Chicago till it is ridiculous.
Administration's decision to send federal forces into U.S. cities. Attorney Terry Austin joins us now. Terry, good to have you. As we mentioned, federal forces are now being sent to Chicago, Kansas City, and Albuquerque, New Mexico, in addition to Portland, Oregon. Is the president able to do this? It's such an unusual move to send in federal forces against the request of local leadership. Can you give us a little bit of context?
Well, I think the argument that Trump is making is the fact that under the Insurrection Act, he can send the military or, in fact, the National Guard, which actually he's already done in June. If you recall, in D.C., he sent the National Guard to pave a way for him to have this photo op. So that's one way he could do it. He could also say under the Patriot Act that he has a right to send in Homeland Security agents, which he has, in fact, done in Oregon. So there are opposing arguments to both of those. In Oregon, of course, we can argue the fact that there's a First Amendment right to protest. And as fact as what he did in D.C., we could also argue that there was no reason to do that. No one asked him to do it. So it's interesting. There are arguments on both sides.
That's very interesting because usually if the president was going to use these powers in the Insurrection Act or otherwise, generally speaking, those troops would be sent at the request of the state or local government. I'm just wondering, is there anything that these local leaders can do, or does the president just really have the authority to supersede them when it comes to their local communities?
Well, it seems like Donald Trump does whatever the hell he wants, and nobody is really saying anything about it. Now, is he sending in these troops because of the violence in these cities, or is he sending in these troops because he wants to go to these particular cities and have a rally, a campaign rally, and he don't want to get fucking shot? Is that the reason? Is that the reason?
Well, it's interesting because originally he was saying, I don't need them to ask for help. I can do it on my own. And now he literally just had a press conference where he said he's waiting for the local authorities to ask for help. So he's probably been advised at this point that he needs to wait until he's asked for help from the local authorities. But, in fact, we've seen in the past that Trump will go ahead and proceed whether he's been asked to or not. So it remains to be seen whether in these other states he will actually take action. We know in Oregon that there has already been a lawsuit by the Attorney General who is basically saying these protesters have a right, a First Amendment right to protest.
Trump had already lost his mind, but this bastard needs to be on medication. I don't know how in the hell he won this election. He probably won it in the same way George Bush stole it a few years ago. But if this man remains president of the United States, there are no longer going to be any United States, because he's going to destroy this damn country.